Hello, welcome to West Ham Grumble on Irons United with me, Alf Gasparo. So, 4 wins, scoring goals, moving up the table. What's there to grumble about? Well, actually not a lot, I've got to be fair here. We've been playing really quite well, I thought, the last 4 games. Yeah, against Fulham, you know, the latest one on Saturday evening, it was cold, it was wet, it was horrible. But, you know, we played well, we defended well, but actually, you know, Fulham had lots of chances as well. So give credit to them, especially in the first half. You know, they came at us and they were actually moving the ball about quite a lot and quite well, I thought, and they had opportunities. So maybe that's something to think about, you know, in future games. We actually got to stop teams playing. I think a better team, better finishers might have put a few goals past us. However, you know, I'm not going to grumble here. You know, I thought we were strong in defence. You know, Diop, Balbuena again. I thought them two were great. But, you know, I always say Fabianski, you know, has a great game. And you know what? He does. He did some cracking saves again. You know, saved our bacon. So, you know, a couple of one-on-ones, you know, he was great. You know, palmed one away off around the right-hand post. You know, dived to the left, you know, secured that ball there as well. So I think that knocked the stuffing out of Fulham a little bit. You know, how well Fabianski was playing. You know, maybe there's a bit of slight concern how they're coming through our midfield and defence at times. But you know what, look, we've got to give credit to Fulham in that they played well in that regard. And also give credit to us, you know, for being able to withstand that and defend reasonably well. So Balbuena Diop really well. You know, Zabaleta again, I thought had a good game, a solid game for Zabaleta. I thought, you know, nothing too outstanding, but just good. Masuaku, now I know all of you out there are probably, you know, getting fed up of me saying how crap Masuaku is. But you know what? I'm actually going to praise him in this game, because in Fulham game, because I thought he had a solid game. You know, there wasn't too many errors. He linked up with Anderson quite well. He overlapped a couple of times. You know, he put in a couple of decent balls. So overall, I thought he had a good game. You know, now in the middle of the field, Rice, again, fantastic. You know, the way he's just receiving the ball, doing the simple stuff, finding the easy pass, I thought was brilliant. I'm going to come back to Noble. Okay, let me just come back to him. Obiang came on. You know, I thought he had a reasonable game as well. Hernandez up front. Yeah, look, we had a good flick on for the Antonio goal, but you know, I think he was industrious in the first half, but I think he kind of lost his legs in the second half as well. Anderson, I thought, was great. I'm not going to slate him off. I know you want me to, and I know you think I probably shouldn't slate him as much as I do. However, what I will say, although he's getting better and better with each game now, I would still say that some of his passes, he's probably trying to be a bit too clever at times with his passes. If you look back at the game, there's a lot of wayward passes, a lot of missed passes. Now, he's not alone in that. Hernandez was trying to do it. And you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to thread that ball through. They're trying to cut through the defences with a killer pass. And if it works out, we'll be saying, what a fantastic ball. When it doesn't work out, we're thinking, oh, not again. And I think that's the problem here. We're seeing it a bit too often in games, and then we're losing possession. You know, so whilst I don't want them to stop trying to find that killer pass, you know, to cut through the defences, I think we got them. They've probably got to be sure of that pass before they try and make it now. And maybe just look for an alternative pass as opposed to, you know, looking for it. You know, I saw a couple of times Anderson was trying to make this pass, you know, for whoever was running onto the ball. But he was passing it into an area where it would be like going into a dead end as well. So I think you've got to, you know, work on that decision making a little bit. But you know what, I'm nitpicking here, of course I am. But overall, he had a good game. Now, Antonio, look, I've made my feelings known about Antonio of the past, and I made those feelings known based upon his performances. I know quite a few out there have slated me for this, and quite rightly so. You're entitled to your opinions, of course. But Antonio was playing like a donkey. He was. However, the last 2 games, he started to play a little bit better. And I've got to say, that goal he scored, the way he took it down, shifted his weight, from one side to the next side, left foot. It was a cool finish. It was a great finish. So, do you know what? I've got to say, he worked well. He was industrious, and he got a goal. So that's all good stuff from him. Now, look, obviously we are suffering with lots of injuries right now. And when you go down the list, it's pretty frightening. The injuries that we've got. But whoever, the team that we've got are actually doing really well. I think Snodgrass, again, is having a great game. Yeah, a couple of dead balls, a couple of corners were a little bit tame, I thought. He kind of lost it at the first man, the near post. But overall, great. And he's scoring great goals, So, I said right at the start that Snodgrass was, doing really well this season, and he just seems to be getting better and better. So whilst we've got injuries out and out of it, so on and so forth, Yarmolenko, we do have some great players that are actually, doing the business for us. Now, Carroll came on in the second half, and do you know what? I'm not going to say I feel sorry for him. Well, I do feel sorry for him a little bit, I've got to say, because he's come in, and also all these other players who stepped up, and they're actually performing really well. And you kind of think, well, where is the place for Carroll in the new West Ham, setup under Pellegrini? Hernandez is playing well. Perez was injured, but I think, those 2 goals he got a couple of weeks ago, I think that's a blip rather more than a new thing for him. So I think, Carroll's come on, they're not really finding him. As I've always said with Carroll, it's not about, getting him to fit into the way we're playing. It's actually more about us delivering balls to him where he can be most effective. And that's it. We need crosses, high crosses where he can run onto and head the ball in, And just because, now, we should only put in, balls that he can head when he's in the box. There's no point in actually passing to him when he's, out on the wing or something, and you're putting it into his chest or into his head. Play it to his feet, because he can actually play ball as well. So I think there was a pass from Obiang or something, and he chipped the ball, and he was right, and it was right on the he was right on the wing, and he had to really control it. And I think it went onto his head, and it went out. I can't remember. But it was just a poor pass, just because, he's tall, he's good in the air. Don't put everything into his head. Only put those balls to his head when he's in the box in a goal scoring position. So I think we've got to look at the way we're playing Carroll, get the best out of him, really. So overall, 4 wins, 4 great performances, 4 resolute performances. We've still got chinks in the armour, of course we have. We still let other teams play a little bit too much, but we're coming out on top. Now, I have said in the past that these are the games, as we all know as West Ham fans, that these are the sorts of games that we should be doing well, performing well, and getting results in. Right now, it's working under Pellegrini. We've got a tough game coming up in the next game against Watford. They're playing reasonably well. You saw the game on Saturday. They're doing really well. And actually, our lad that we let go in the summer, Domingos Quina, he's actually doing really well for them as well. And he scored. I think he scored, didn't he, as well? So, look, well, let's watch out for that. I think, we're going to have to be really on our top game against him. If we get a result, I know they're at home, but if we get a result against Watford, I think we're onto a really good we've gone to a really good run, so that should set us up nicely. We're top half of the table right now. This is fantastic. Let's just carry on with this momentum. But I think we've got to find a way of stopping Watford playing. Now, this leads me neatly on to no ball. Oh dear, right. Okay, this is my grumble for this week. It's not about the quality of Noble, don't get me wrong. I thought he actually played some great passes forward, you know, splitting the defences, and there were long passes and accurate passes out to the wing, to Snodgrass and to Anderson as well. So I thought he did really well in that regard. And he was industrious, he was like a terrier at times, he was trying. But he has this habit of the last few matches of getting himself booked, and he could have easily have got sent off as well. Yeah, I know the tackle that he went in for, you know, he got booked, and he also got stamped on a little bit. Not a little bit, actually a lot, by Mitrovic or whoever he was. But do you know what? He could have easily got sent off there. And the problem is, if he gets sent off, or he picks up another yellow and then he gets sent off, you know, we're down to 10 men, then we're up against it, you know. So I think he's really got to watch how he's, you know, playing, where he's tackling from. And I know the game's changed and tackling from behind and all that kind of stuff. So whilst I don't want him to lose his kind of punch a little bit, you know, I do want him to just think about, you know, let's calm it all down a little bit. It's a very fine line, isn't it, that he's running along right now, and I think that's where we need to get it under control. Anyway, so Noble, you know, just wind in a little bit. Everybody else, keep on doing what you're doing. Play well. You know, play as a team. You know, let's get that passing improving. Let's look for those killer passes, but make the right decisions at the right times. Let's find a way to get Carroll playing at his best, and that's what we need to work on right now. Okay, so tough game against Watford at the weekend. I think it's going to be a draw. Actually, I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. But do you know what? Although I'll say on draw, I think we're going to. I'll predict a win, because I always predict a win. I've got to do that. So 3-1 to us. It'll be a tough game, but we got to watch Watford, because they are a decent outfit. Right, that's been my grumble this week. Catch you on the next one, whenever that is. Subscribe to Irons United, because they're really cool and I'm not. Cheers.